This story is almost unbelievable, full of ups and downs, as if it were a movie. I had been happily married for over 30 years, or so I thought. I have 3 beloved children and owned a convenience store and a gas station. I'm not rich, but I make a decent living. A few years ago, my 28-year-old son was hospitalized due to a kidney issue. He is married and has 2 children. My wife, Anne, and I were terrified for his life. The doctor told us that he might need a transplant if his condition didn't improve and suggested we speak to family members about possible donations. Without telling Anne, I got tested to see if I was a compatible donor. The results showed that I wasn't a match. Shocked, I asked the doctor why, considering that he was my son. The doctor, clearly uncomfortable with my reaction, asked me to step into his office. "Mr. Wells, the test results indicate that you are not his biological father. We are running the test again to confirm," he said. I couldn't bring myself to tell Anne just yet. Thoughts about my other children, Janice and Mandy, raced through my mind. Janice was 26, and Mandy was 20. I hoped the doctor had made a mistake. 2 days later, the doctor brought good news. Brad's kidneys were responding to treatment, and he wouldn't need a transplant. We were all relieved and cried with joy. Still, I hadn't told Anne about the test. The next day, I asked Anne, Janice, and Mandy for DNA samples, explaining that it would help with future health concerns. Anne seemed nervous but agreed, as did the others. I also collected samples from Janice's family. The hospital confirmed that Brad was not biologically mine. I asked them to analyze the other samples. "Mr. Wells, are any of them your biological family?" "They're all my family. But I need to know if Janice and Mandy are my biological daughters," I replied. Brad was discharged from the hospital a few days later. After a week of recovery, he was able to return to work. Everyone was relieved that he didn't need dialysis or a transplant. That I tried to stay calm, but it was difficult. I needed to know if my daughters were biologically mine. And noticed my strange behavior and asked about it almost every night. I told her I was just thinking about our children, which was partly true. One evening, I came home to find Anne crying over some hospital papers. "When did you do this? And why?" she asked. "I got tested to see if I could donate my kidney to our son. The doctor said I wasn't his biological father. So, I had tests done for the girls too." And broke down. "Janice isn't yours, but Mandy is." She was sobbing. "What happens now?" I didn't know. After 30 years of marriage, I had just learned that 2 of my children weren't mine. That I told and that we needed to talk. "Maybe we'll stay together, or maybe we'll separate." "Dan, that was over 28 years ago. Can't we leave the past behind?" "No. We can't. You had an affair. I need to know who I've been raising." Janice and Brad are siblings, so this wasn't just a one-time thing. Who was it? It was Hardy. It was stupid and wrong, but it ended. Hardy. Our best friend who died 25 years ago. Did his wife, Mary, know? Did she join in too? Please, Dan, let's not talk about this. I love you. This is an old story. We can't move forward. Are you out of your mind? We got married, and within a year, you started sleeping with Hardy. I raised his child as if he were mine. If he hadn't died, you'd probably still be with him. Explain this, Anne. She was crying, but I needed the truth. I know you and Hardy were friends. I always loved him, but he chose Mary. I loved you too, just, not as much. After he married Mary, I was heartbroken. You asked me to marry you, and I did, partly out of spite. I wanted to prove to Hardy that I could move on. Then we started an affair. You were often away, and Hardy would come over. It just happened. He stopped seeing me after I got pregnant with Brad. He asked if the baby was his, and I told him I wasn't sure. But I also told him I wouldn't tell you unless he married me. He laughed and said you could raise his child. Do you really think I'm that stupid? It just happened. What kind of excuse is that? What about Janice? Did the same thing happen with her? I told him not to come over unless you or Mary were home. I had feelings for him, but he was using me. One day, he forced himself on me and threatened to tell you about Brad. He hurt me and said he hoped I'd get pregnant again. I couldn't tell you because I didn't want to lose you. After Janice was born, Hardy died in a car accident. I was sad, but also relieved. I could finally put it behind me and focus on us. I loved you more and more. We had a good life, didn't we? Did we, Anne? Yes. Our marriage was good. But now I know it was built on lies. You betrayed me. You married me while loving another man and had his children. And now you expect me to forget it. I can't. I'm going to see a lawyer and start the divorce process. Dan, you can't. What will happen to our children? What will you tell them? I'll tell them the truth. And just so you know, I don't think you would have ever told me if Hardy hadn't died. You have 1 week to tell me your story. After that, I will tell them the truth. I suppose Brad and Janice don't know that I'm not their biological father. No one knows, except me and now you. Please, they love you. Don't hurt them by telling them their real father was a man they never even knew. I am their father. I raised them, and that will never change. But we will both stay here until the divorce is finalized, unless you have another lover. That's inappropriate, Dan, and you know it. No, the real problem is that I've been with you for 30 years, and I don't even know who you are. That I moved into the guest room. I didn't want anything to do with her. And cried as I packed my things and left our bedroom. 2 days later, I got a call from the store. Anne's car had crashed. She had lost control while speeding into a curve. Tragically, she died on the spot. The authorities investigated the accident but found no suspicious circumstances. I confirmed that she hadn't been having any issues, and it was ruled an accident pending the autopsy. Breaking the news to our children was agonizing for all of us. Still, I couldn't shake my doubts. Was it truly an accident, or was there something more to it? A few days later, the autopsy confirmed that it had indeed been an accident. At her funeral, I wept. Despite our separation, 3 decades of shared history left me struggling with unresolved emotions. I decided to keep her affair a secret and resisted the temptation to consult a lawyer. The day after the funeral, I asked my daughters and daughter-in-law to divide Anne's belongings. I only kept a few cherished family photos. Tormented by lingering doubts, I reflected on the consequences of my actions and wondered if things could have been different, or if fate had simply intervened that fateful day. Update: this happened 2 years ago, right before the holidays, that I found myself alone again. My son and eldest daughter live about 100 miles away, and I told them I might visit for a day or two. Mandy, my youngest, was in her final year of college and planned to travel to England with friends over the holidays. She was worried about me being alone, but I reassured her. That same evening, I saw a commercial about donating $24 a month to help a child in a developing country. It made me skeptical. Where does that money really go? The next day, I asked our local priest, Pastor Jim, if the church had a Christmas charity to help local families. Yes, we do, he said. Do you have a specific family in mind? No, I just need the name of a family I can help, I replied. Pastor Jim suggested a young widow with 3 children. Her husband had been killed by a criminal, and she had moved to our town to start over. Thank you, Jim. I'll stop by later to get her name, I said. Though I wasn't a regular churchgoer, I wanted to make a difference. Later, I picked a name from the church's giving tree, Carmen Wilson. She worked as a waitress at a restaurant I often visited. I decided to go there and speak with her. I looked around the restaurant and saw Carmen. She smiled and said she'd be right over. Carmen was in her early 30s, pleasant looking, with shoulder-length dark hair. She wasn't too thin or too heavy, just an attractive woman with a warm smile. "How can I help you?" she asked. "Just a cup of coffee and a little conversation, if you don't mind." "Sure, coffee's fine, but I'm not so sure about the conversation," she replied. "Sorry, I'm not great at talking to women. This isn't a flirtation. I picked your name from the church's giving tree, and I'd like to be your friend for the holidays." She hesitated. "Look, I'm not sure what you're after. I'll just get your coffee." She spoke briefly with her boss, who nodded, then returned with my coffee. "All right," she said, "Joe says you're okay. But I'll be honest, I don't need charity." "So, what do you mean by holiday friend?" "The church put your children's names on the giving tree, but they didn't mention this. This is my idea. If you'd rather, I can just buy gifts for your kids. I was watching TV last night and saw a commercial about donating to children in other countries. It made me think, I want to help a local family during Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm not rich, but I can afford to support one family, and I chose yours." Carmen's eyes filled with tears. "Are you serious? I've been so worried about my kids this year. You know, my husband was," she paused, swallowing her emotions. "I know, Carmen. He was taken from you. Please, let me help. But if I'm overstepping, just tell me, and I'll back off. Why are you doing this? Don't you have your own family to help? My wife died 2 years ago in a car accident." There was a long silence. "All right, Carmen. My holidays have been pretty lonely, and I just want to help someone else have a better one this year. My kids are grown and doing fine. So, what do you say? Can we be holiday friends?" She looked at me thoughtfully. "You have a kind face, Dan. For my kids' sake, I'll say yes. But no tricks, we've been through enough." "Of course. Let's start by refilling your coffee and figuring out what you need." She poured me another cup and said she needed to get back to work, but she agreed to talk after her shift. The next day, I invited her to dinner, but she said she needed to be with her children. Instead, she invited me to her home for dinner. "I'll bring pizza." "That's great. Pepperoni and cheese," she said with a smile. "But bring 2 pizzas, my 8-year-old son can eat half of one by himself." When I visited her home, I realized she lived in a housing project. These places often have social service support, but they aren't the best environments due to issues with drugs, crime, and other challenges. Now more than ever, I wanted to help Carmen and her kids. Her 8-year-old son greeted me at the door. He was a sweet boy and asked what I wanted. "I'm the pizza delivery guy," I said. "Your mom invited me." He grinned. "Mom said her friend is bringing pizza today." I stepped inside, and 2 more children came running, shouting, "Pizza! Pizza! Pizza! Mom, the pizza guy is here!" yelled a 6-year-old boy. Carmen appeared from another room, having tidied up a bit. "Kids, where are your manners? I thought I taught you better than that." "Sorry, Mom, we were just excited," her eldest son said. "We don't get visitors often. Can we eat now?" "Kids, this is Dan, a friend of mine. You can call him Uncle Dan or Mr. Dan." I interrupted, "Just call me Dan." "What's your name?" The oldest answered, "I'm Mike, and I'm 8. The second said, "I'm Mark, and I'm 6. Then the youngest chimed in, "I know who I am. My name is Molly, and I'm 4, but almost 5. I go to kindergarten, and I'm very smart." She looked a lot like her mother. We all sat down to eat pizza. The furniture was old, and they didn't have much. The TV was on, but the picture quality was poor. As the kids ate and watched cartoons, I asked Carmen what kind of help she needed. "Oh, God, I wasn't prepared for this," she admitted. "My kids and I are okay. They want what other kids have, but I can't afford it. You've seen our TV, it barely works. We buy second-hand clothes. They're great kids, but I can't buy them bikes or anything valuable because it might get stolen. So, any gift would be deeply appreciated. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Mike, how about we go to the movies on Saturday? There's a new Harry Potter film. Wow. That would be awesome. Mom, can we go? Maybe, if you behave this week, she said. Dan, you know this is for you, too, Carmen added with a small smile. Maybe we'll have dinner at McDonald's after, said Molly. I like McDonald's. They have Happy Meals and a playground. Alright, I said. Be good for your mom, and we'll go. The kids were thrilled, and Carmen smiled. It felt good to make them happy that we started spending weekends taking the kids to fun places. I also began having lunch at Joe's Diner and always sat in Carmen's section, leaving generous tips. Dan, you don't have to do that, she told me. Just make your kids happy, then you won't need the money. I teased. That's not fair, Dan. Of course, I can use the money. I just feel uncomfortable and like I owe you something. How about I make you a Thanksgiving dinner or something? I need to do something for you, too. I'll talk to the kids, check our schedule, and call you. Carmen, I do this because it makes me happy. I enjoy helping people who are trying to help themselves. Please don't feel like you owe me anything. Seeing the kids' smiles is enough for me, and your smile is a bonus. She looked a little embarrassed and turned away. That weekend, Mandy came home and asked if anything was new. I told her about Carmen and how I was helping her. Dad, do you really think this is a good idea? You don't know her very well. Sweetheart, helping someone and seeing those kids' faces gives me a new purpose. I want you to meet Carmen and give me your honest opinion. I don't know, Dad. It makes me nervous. Isn't that a rough neighborhood for a single mom and her kids? Exactly. That's why I want to help them. You've grown up and don't need me as much anymore, so I feel like I should help someone else. Fine, I'll meet them. But I'm not making any promises. I invited Carmen and the kids over on Saturday. It was cold, but I decided to grill outside. Carmen arrived in an old, beat-up car with the kids. As they got out, Mandy commented sarcastically, "Nice car, Dad. What would you say if she pulled up in a brand new one?" I asked. Good point, she admitted. As soon as Mike and Mark saw me, they ran up excitedly. Hey, Uncle Dan. Wow, you live here. This house is huge. I introduced them to Mandy while Carmen helped Molly out of the car. Mike and Mark, this is my daughter, Mandy. Hi, guys. Nice to meet you, Mandy said. Hi. I'm Mike, I'm 8, and Mark is 6. This is my little sister, Molly. Molly walked over and raised her arms for me to pick her up. Mandy watched me closely. Molly is my little buddy, I told her. She stands up to her brothers just like you used to. I laughed. Carmen, this is Mandy, my pride and joy. They greeted each other, and I could almost see their minds working as they sized each other up. Carmen smiled. I know this is different. I know you have questions. Let's just enjoy today, and I'll try to answer them. Your father is one of the kindest people I've ever met. Show me the kitchen, and we can cook together, she added. Men think grilling is an entire meal, but we know better. Mandy smirked and said, I like her already, Dad. We all went inside. The kids explored the house but were told not to open drawers or run around. They came back excitedly, telling their mom everything they had seen. Can we watch TV on your big screen? They asked. How about we go to the store and pick out some DVDs? I suggested. They cheered, and Molly asked to come along, but Carmen intervened. Molly, why don't you stay here with Mandy and me to help us cook? The girls need to stick together. Molly thought for a moment and then nodded. Uncle Dan, go with the boys. I have to help the girls cook, she said, sounding adorably serious. That I smiled and reassured her that I had a pool and a hot tub, so I told the kids to bring their swimsuits if they wanted to enjoy them after watching movies. Mandy suggested I contact Brad and Janice about our plans and let them know to bring their swimsuits, too. After Carmen and the kids went home, I talked to Mandy. Dad, Carmen is great. She's hardworking, and she's been through a lot with what happened to her husband. I get why you want to help her and the kids. She doesn't make excuses, and she really cares about you. I hope she's at least a little grateful, I replied. No, Dad, I mean, she might actually like you. Maybe even love you. She actually said that. Dad, she didn't need to. Women can sense these things. I think you've grown attached to her, too. Just be careful. I'm just happy to help. This is the happiest I've seen you since Mom passed away. I just want you to be aware of that. Mandy's words hit me hard. I did feel a deep connection with Carmen and her children. Brad and Janice were hesitant at first, but they eventually accepted my invitation for Thanksgiving after understanding my involvement with Carmen's family through the church's Giving Tree initiative. Carmen and Mandy handled most of the planning, with Carmen taking the lead in organizing the dinner. Mandy coming home on Fridays became a routine, and I often visited the restaurant where Carmen worked, stopping by to see the kids and bringing them little treats. Carmen teased me about spoiling them, though I occasionally felt uncomfortable seeing Carmen interact with customers, especially men who flirted with her. I reminded myself that I had no right to feel jealous. Update: Carmen and the kids arrived early for Thanksgiving. She looked beautiful in a simple outfit, already busy in the kitchen with Mandy. Mandy mentioned that she had invited her boyfriend, a paramedic still in college, to join us. They would be going to England for a hospital project over the holidays and returning in January. Brad, his wife Gil, and my grandkids arrived next. After hugs all around, the kids immediately asked about the hot tub. I introduced them to Carmen's children, and they became friends right away. Mandy introduced Carmen to Brad and Gil as a good friend, which I appreciated. Brad seemed curious, while Gil offered to help in the kitchen. That a little later, Janice and Rob arrived with their children. The kids ran off to the basement to play with toys and gadgets while the women cooked. The men tried to stay out of their way. The guys were curious about Carmen, and I tried to explain her situation without revealing too much of my own feelings. She looks good, Dad. How old is she? Brad asked. She's 31. Brad raised an eyebrow. Rob added, she seems like a great person and definitely deserves some help. Dad, aren't you worried that she might fall for you, or that you might fall for her? Look, I'm a widower, and she's a widow. If something happens, then so be it. Dad, this is kind of personal and inappropriate, Brad said. As my son, I'll tell you this, no, I haven't even tried to kiss her. She's a wonderful woman, and I care about her. Sorry, Dad. I know it's none of my business. You must miss Mom, it's been 2 years. This isn't about your mother. I'm alive, and if I find someone attractive, that's my choice. Now, let's change the subject and check on the kids. We went to the basement. Carmen's kids were getting along well with mine. Molly kept coming over to talk to me, which seemed to bother Brad but amused Rob. Mandy introduced her boyfriend, Ross, to everyone. Ross, this is Carmen. She's a friend of mine, Mandy said. Nice to meet you, Ross said. Mandy told me about your husband. I'm really sorry for your loss. Thank you, Carmen replied. I introduced Ross to Carmen's kids. Great kids, Ross said. It's a shame about their father. It's great that you're helping them, Mr. Weller. Thanks, Ross. I picked their name from the church's Giving Tree. So, what's new with you? School and work must keep you busy, I asked. Yeah, but soon we'll be traveling. It's a work-related trip, but I'll be with Mandy. Brad leaned in and asked, So, how are things with you and Mandy? Ross hesitated for a moment before answering, I love her, and I plan to propose in front of Big Ben in England. Mr. Weller, do I have your blessing? Ross, you don't need my permission, Mandy is capable of making her own decisions. But if you're asking for my blessing, you have it. Should I ask her soon? I think so, but don't mention it yet. See if she's ready. Our lips are sealed, Ross. Good luck, the afternoon was wonderful. Dinner was fantastic, and everyone had a great time. The kids took turns using the hot tub, but no adults joined them. Maybe next time, Carmen said with a smile. I'll hold you to that, I promised. As the evening wound down, Mandy and Ross left to spend some time alone. I helped Carmen clean up, with Janice and Gil joining us. Before leaving, Brad told Carmen, it was a pleasure meeting you. I wish you all the best. Then Janice pulled me aside, Dad, Carmen is great, but she's way too young for you. I'm just helping her, I said. Dad, she loves you. I hesitated. I asked if she was seeing anyone, and she said she had a boyfriend. Dad, you are that boyfriend. Otherwise, she wouldn't have come today. Just be careful. After everyone left, Carmen gathered her kids and turned to me. I had a wonderful time tonight. I really like your family that I don't know why, but I leaned in and kissed her. It was soft and lingering. When we pulled apart, her eyes were wide. You didn't have to do that, Dan. I should go. She quickly gathered her kids, who said their goodbyes and got into the car that I walked to the driver's side window. I'm sorry. I crossed the line. Please forgive me, she shook her head. Don't be sorry, Dan. I've wanted you to do that for a long time. Then she drove off. That I didn't hear from her for several days. I started to worry about what I had done. On Monday, I went to the restaurant, but she wasn't there. Joe told me she had taken Molly to daycare and would be back soon. I planned to return for lunch, but work kept me busy. I tried to give Carmen space, knowing I had overstepped. That evening, my phone rang. It was Carmen. Hello, Carmen. I'm really sorry, Dan, someone broke into our apartment. They took everything, even our old TV. The only things we have left are our clothes, she said, crying. I don't know what to do. The police are here taking a report. That's awful, Carmen. Pack your things and the kids' things. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Everything will be okay, I promise. Dan, I didn't know who else to call. It's okay, Carmen. I'm glad you called. Now pack up your things and the kids' stuff. I'll be there soon. I drove over and found Carmen and the kids. Molly was crying, scared. I comforted her and decided to take them to my house. Carmen looked surprised. I thought you were going to leave me at a motel for the night. No, you're coming home with me. Pack up your car and take mine with the kids. I'll drive yours. She didn't ask questions, just did as I said. I spoke with the police officer, gave him my number, and explained that Carmen and the kids would be staying with me. He said it was unlikely they would recover any of their stolen belongings. With his help, I got Carmen's car running and headed home. When I arrived, Carmen and the kids were waiting on the porch. It's open. Why didn't you go inside? I asked. You weren't here, and we didn't want to just walk in, Carmen replied. Come on, kids. Help me with the bags. Mike and Mark, take your things to the room with the bunk beds. Put Molly's and your mom's stuff in the master bedroom. If you're not sure where something goes, just leave it for now. Molly, help the boys get settled. Dan, we can't live here. What will your kids think? Carmen, you need help right now. Let's just try this for a few days. You and Molly can share the master bedroom, and the boys will be comfortable upstairs. But Dan, the kids have school, and Molly has kindergarten. I have to work. Living here might interfere, it won't. You might just need to leave a little earlier in the mornings. I can help with school drop-offs and pickups. Call their schools, explain the situation, and give them my name for authorization. It will work out. I promise. She looked at me, hesitant. Dan. I care about you. A lot. Your kids know it, and I need you to know it too. Women just know these things, but men think differently. Mandy, Janice, and Gil all know. I'm sorry, but I can't hide my feelings anymore. I'll focus on my kids, you already have enough to worry about. Anne. I don't regret kissing you. I just thought you should know. I went upstairs to check the boys' room and make sure the dresser drawers were empty. Carmen helped the kids organize their clothes while Molly and I sorted out some of her things. Later, I took the kids to help prepare dinner. We went with something simple, hot dogs and macaroni and cheese. During dinner, Carmen asked about house rules. I'll set them gradually, I explained. Until then, the kids will need permission for everything. They can't go into my bedroom or office without an invitation, and they have to stay away from the locked pool area. They can use the hot tub with permission and watch TV with approval. Keeping their rooms tidy is their responsibility. Carmen laughed. Good luck with that. They're not exactly the tittiest boys. But at least the rules are clear. I looked at the kids, including Molly, who was always smiling at me. All right, kids. This is your home now. Have fun, but always ask your mom if you're unsure about something. Uncle Dan, what if we get hungry? Mark asked. Then eat. Your mom and I will go grocery shopping tomorrow for snacks. You'll always have food. Remember, your mom is the boss. If she says no, don't come to me, and vice versa. No means no. Any other questions? Molly raised her hand, making me laugh. What is it, sweetheart? Carmen asked. Can we play with the toys in the basement? They're not ours. Of course, sweetheart. You can play with anything down there, I told her. And we'll talk to Santa, maybe he'll bring you some toys of your own. Molly raised her hand again. Can I go play now? Yes, sweetheart, go ahead. I'll join you in a bit, Carmen said. Molly ran off, followed by the boys. Uncle Dan, can we turn on the TV? One of them shouted. Yes, just keep the volume low, I replied. Carmen suddenly hugged me, tears in her eyes. I don't know what I would have done without you. She wiped her tears and stepped back. We didn't kiss or embrace again, but I squeezed her hands and said, I'll always be here for you. Now, let's go see what the kids are up to. We went down to the basement, where the kids were playing. It felt like a family, a reminder of when Anne and I used to watch our kids play. As it got late, Carmen told the kids to take baths and get ready for bed. She asked the boys to use the upstairs bathroom while Molly used the master bathroom. Carmen, this is your home now. Of course, Molly can use the big bathtub and shower. I'll use the one in the basement if necessary. Please, make yourself comfortable. While Carmen got the kids ready for bed, I went to my office to work. A few minutes later, I saw Molly peeking in, dressed in her pajamas. Hi, Molly. Do you need something? I want to give you a goodnight kiss, but Mommy said I have to wait until you say it's okay. I smiled. Come here, sweetheart. She climbed onto my lap, wrapped her arms around my neck, and kissed me on the cheek. Good night, Uncle Dan. Good night, sweetheart. Where's your mom? Upstairs, talking to Mike and Mark. Let's go help her. We went upstairs and found them in the middle of an argument. But, Mom. Mark always gets his way just because he's older. I only asked for the top bunk, and he said he gets to choose because he's the oldest. Carmen turned to Mark. Is that what you said, Mark? Yes, but I'm older, so I should get to choose. Mike, you're only 2 years older. That means you should be 2 years wiser, Carmen said. Is it really worth arguing over which bed you sleep in? Why not share the top bunk and take turns? Mike looked at Mark and sighed. Fine. Mark, you can have the top bunk this month, and I'll take it next month. We'll switch every month. Deal. Mark grinned. Thanks, Mike. He climbed up to the top bunk. You feel good inside, don't you, Mike? Carmen asked. Yeah. I guess so, Mom. Carmen kissed her sons goodnight, then tucked Molly into bed. I need to get back to my paperwork and then get some sleep, she said. I returned to my office and heard the shower running, my thoughts drifting to Carmen. When she finished, she walked past my office in her pajamas and robe, her hair still damp. Good night, Dan, and thank you for everything. I looked up and smiled. Is there anything that doesn't look good on you? She laughed softly and headed to bed. I caught a hint of her scent in the air, took a deep breath, then returned to my work. The next morning was chaotic. Carmen asked me to call Joe and let him know she might be late for work. She also needed to update the school and daycare about their new address. When I called Joe, he sounded skeptical. Are you serious about this, Dan? He asked. After being married for over 40 years, I just don't want to see you get hurt. I promise, Joe, I'm fine, I assured him. Mike and Mark rode with me in my truck while Carmen and Molly followed in her car. On the way back, Carmen got a call from Mandy. After explaining the situation, Mandy asked to speak with me. Dad, are you sure about this? You know she loves you, right? What was I supposed to do, Mandy? Just give her some money and tell her to figure it out on her own. I care about her. We're adults, and we haven't done anything wrong. Honestly, I'm happy that she and the kids are here. It almost feels like the old days. Dad, this is a thin line. I like Carmen like a sister, but you both need to be careful and understand what you're doing. I get it, Mandy. Now, do you want to talk to her? She talked to Carmen for about 20 minutes while the boys and I carried the last of their things inside. After she handed me back the phone, I asked, what did she want? Mostly girl talk, Carmen said, but she's worried about us. What's there to worry about? We're adults. I'm in my 50s, I can make my own decisions. Dan, she knows how much I care about you. I told her myself, and now you know too. I tried to explain that I don't know where this is going, but you helped me and the kids when we needed it most. I will always be grateful for that, but my feelings are stronger than just gratitude. Mandy is just afraid that one of us will get hurt. I told her I would never come between you and your family. It's okay, Carmen. Let's take it one day at a time. Maybe time will help. Just then, Mike and Mark ran in. Uncle Dan, can we go in the hot tub? I looked at Carmen, then back at the kids, only if your mom goes with you. You can't go in alone. Come on, Mom, please. It's warm and has lots of bubbles. Alright, kids. Get your swimsuits on. Molly, you too. I'll be there soon, Carmen said. She turned to me. You planned this, didn't you? I just smiled. She laughed and walked off to change. A few minutes later, she stepped out in a two-piece swimsuit. Happy now? She asked, smirking as she passed by. Definitely, I said. You look great in anything. I'd even bet you'd look amazing in nothing. She gave me a playful glare and smiled as she walked toward the hot tub. The kids were already inside, excitedly waiting for her. She's even more beautiful than I thought, I reflected as she settled into the water. She really does have it all. A few minutes later, I handed Carmen a drink. She smiled. This feels amazing. My body needed this. The kids watched the bubbles in fascination. Thanks, Uncle Dan. This is awesome. Mark said. I glanced at Carmen one more time before heading back inside to finish my work. I heard everyone getting ready for bed. Soon after, Molly peeked into my office, smiling and waiting for permission to come in. No one could resist that little girl, or her mother. She climbed onto my lap, kissed me on the cheek, and wrapped her arms around my neck. "Good night, Uncle Dan. See you in the morning." "Good night, sweetheart." I owned a self-service gas station and a small convenience store. I no longer did auto repairs, but I still had a tow truck for emergencies. Carmen called, frustrated. "Dan, my car won't start again." I grabbed the tow truck and went to pick her up. When I arrived, two guys were trying to help her with her battery, clearly flirting. She shook her head and told them, "No, thanks. My friend is coming." When I pulled up, they backed off quickly. I hooked up her car, and she climbed into the truck. Her dress slid up slightly as she got comfortable, revealing a bit more leg than usual. "Thanks for coming, Dan. I told you, I'll always be here for you. Does it bother you when other guys offer to help me?" "Yes. I don't want other people seeing how amazing you are. But what really bothers me is when they flirt with you." "I didn't do anything wrong, Daniel." "I know. I was just answering your question. And besides," she teased, "I don't belong to you." "Then why did you tell them I was your fiancé?" "Why not?" She replied with a smile. I didn't answer. I just drove. "Where are we going, Dan?" I pulled into the scrapyard. "They'll give you a couple $100 for that junk car. Grab your personal stuff and put it in this trash bag, we'll sort it out later." "What am I supposed to drive?" "We'll talk more later, but we need to hurry and pick up the kids." Carmen packed her belongings, and we got $300 for the car. We picked up Molly's car seat and headed home. When we arrived, I opened the garage and told Carmen she could drive my old car. It barely had 8,000 miles on it and was only 4 years old. I had bought it with the insurance money after Annie's accident, but since I mostly drove the truck, the car was rarely used. Carmen installed Molly's car seat and left to pick up the kids. When they returned, Mark excitedly announced, "We have a new car. And it's way nicer than Mom's old one." "Dan, I'll pay you for the car." "How much do you want?" Carmen asked. "Just drive it. You need something better." "It's a good car, I'll keep it in my name and cover the insurance." "That'll save you some money." "What if we don't stay together? What if I move out? Are you thinking about leaving?" "No, I was just wondering what would happen with the car if you decided to send me away." I sighed. "Carmen, I promise you'll always have a car. I can put it in writing if you want. I just wanted you to be safe in that old car, and I want you safe here with me." She kissed me, and it felt right. Molly looked at her brothers and said, "Mom just kissed Uncle Dan." I smiled. "No, sweetheart, now it's your mom's car. She kissed me because I gave it to her." Carmen kissed me again. "All right, kids, time to get ready for dinner," she said. "Should Mom cook, or should she take us to McDonald's in her new car?" Mike asked. "McDonald's." The kids shouted. That Friday, while Carmen was at work, my children, Brad, Janice, and Mandy, came to see me. "Dad, we need to talk. Can we go to your house for a bit?" "Sure, I'll be there in a few minutes," I said, already knowing what this was about. When I arrived home, they were sitting in the living room. "Dad, this is about Carmen and her kids," Brad started. "Seriously? You drove 2 hours just for this? What did Carmen do to make you all dislike her so much?" "It's not that we hate her," Janice said. "But one day, you're just helping her, and the next, she and her kids are living with you. And now your car is gone, you gave it to Carmen. I'll explain everything, but honestly, I'm disappointed in all of you." "Dad, I think Carmen is using you," Brad said. "You're lonely, and she meets your needs. You've fallen for her, and now she and her kids are taken care of. Mandy jumped in. Brad, if you knew Carmen like I do, you'd know she loves Dad, and he loves her. I'm here to support them. Brad, if you weren't my son, I would have knocked you out of that chair. I took a deep breath. What was I supposed to do when Carmen needed help? Just give her money and walk away. Ignore her. I did what I thought was right. Dad, are you saying you've never been intimate with her? Janice asked. No, we haven't. And frankly, it's none of your business. In fact, I'm thinking about asking Carmen to marry me. What? Brad exclaimed. You barely know her. She has a lot of baggage, and 3 kids. She's closer to my age than yours. You all have your own lives. I found someone I care about, and she cares about me. I have a big house to share. Why are you against this? All right, Dad, Brad said, calming down. Let's say you truly love each other. Do you really want to start over, raising 3 young kids? I love those kids, Brad. They remind me of when you and I used to play together. Molly hugs me and sits on my lap just like you and Janice did when you were little. They're great kids, and I can make a difference in their lives. Dad, you're only seeing the positive side. They're not your biological children. Do you really want to spend the next 20 years raising kids that aren't yours? I turned to Janice. Do you think they should be my biological children? I don't know, she said. I love you, and you'll always be my father. But, could you really raise someone else's kids? Janice, would you have loved me if I hadn't been your biological father? Would you still consider me your dad? She hesitated. You've always been there for me. So yes, I would always consider you my real father. But what does that have to do with raising Carmen's kids? Wait, I have something to show you. I pulled out some old documents. Your mother and I kept some secrets. Maybe showing you this is a mistake, but you need to understand why I care so much about Carmen's kids. I know I can be a good father to them. I handed them the DNA test results. Janice looked at the papers. What is this? These are your DNA results. Brad and Janice, your tests show you share the same biological parents. But Mandy's results are different. One of her parents isn't the same as yours. Mandy's eyes filled with tears. Are you saying you're not my biological father? She asked. No, Mandy. I'm saying I'm not the biological father of Brad or Janice. The room fell silent. Brad looked stunned. You've always been my dad. Janice started crying. Is that why you asked about our father? You're my dad, no matter what a test says. I love you, Dad. I just want you to be happy with Carmen. Brad shook his head, still processing. I'm so confused. Are you going to tell us about our biological father? First, Brad, I want you to know that I have always considered you and Janice my children. Nothing has changed, except what you now know. You are my son, and Janice is my daughter. Family isn't just about blood, it's about love and commitment. Brad exhaled deeply. And what about our biological father? I do plan to tell you. But I wanted you to know that I've always loved you as my own. The past with your mother is over, and I never wanted you to find out that we were going to get divorced. Your mom and I married young. Both Harvey Kell and I loved her. But Harvey also loved Mary. He got her pregnant, and they got married. I married your mom, and I was very happy with her. Later, your mom told me she had married Harvey first. But we all remained friends. Your mom became pregnant with Brad, and then with Janice. After Janice was born, Harvey died, and your mom fell into depression. That's when she confessed that you two were Harvey's children. I was shocked, and we separated for a month. I missed my kids, so we talked and decided to stay together. Your mom became a wonderful wife, and I loved you both as my own. Then Mandy was born, and I knew for certain that she was mine. We lived happily together until your mother's tragic accident. Dad, if you knew you weren't my biological father, why did you take the kidney test? Brad asked. I hoped, prayed, that I would be a match for you, Brad. You are my son, and I would have given you my kidney without hesitation. You took a compatibility test before Brad was hospitalized? Janice asked. Yes. It wasn't expensive, and your mom had already told me the truth. There were no surprises when I took the test, I already knew the results. For the record, I also have DNA test results for your families. Brad, you and Gil are the biological parents of your children. Janice, you and Rob are also the biological parents of your kids. Your mother was a wonderful wife and mother. Brad, now teary-eyed, said, Dad, I'm sorry. I was thinking more about myself than about you, or Carmen. Brad, in situations like this, people often worry about inheritance. I think you're more concerned about that than about Carmen and her kids. You three will always be in my will, each receiving a fair share. But I'm disappointed that none of you showed compassion for Carmen and her children. Janice hugged me. I don't care what the test says, you'll always be my father. I hugged her back, and just as I was about to embrace Mandy, Carmen walked in. Well, it looks like we're all going out to dinner, unless you'd like to tell Carmen why you're here, I said. Carmen entered the room. Hi, everyone. What brings you all here? Mandy quickly covered for us. It's my last free day at home before heading back, so we decided to go out for dinner. Great. Give me a minute to change out of my work uniform. Kids, go talk to Mandy, Janice, and Brad while I get ready. Molly ran to Brad and hugged him. Hi, Brad. I like you. Brad looked at me and finally understood what I had meant earlier. Mike turned to Janice. Did you bring your kids? We're learning to share our toys better. They're not home, but maybe you can visit after Christmas, Janice replied. Can I, Uncle Dan? I've never been to their house. Mike asked. We'll see, it's still a few weeks away, I said. Mandy asked Mark what was new. We got a new car. And Mom kissed Uncle Dan. Everyone turned to look at me, but Carmen saved the moment. Yes, Mike, I kissed him twice for letting us use the car. We're taking it now to dinner, let's go, kids. Uncle Dan is driving, so everyone sit in the back. Brad pulled me aside privately. Dad, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have questioned you. It's okay to ask questions, Brad. It's just how you ask them. If something I do ever bothers you, let's talk about it until we understand each other. He smiled when I called him son. Later, I spoke with Janice as well. I wanted my kids to know that I was always there for them. I'm not sure if telling them was the right decision, but it's done. Mandy asked if she could babysit so Carmen and I could go shopping. I gave her a list and some money, asking her to store the items for me. That I wanted to buy bikes for the kids now that they could safely ride in our new neighborhood. That I asked Carmen if she needed extra money for shopping. No, I'm just buying for you and the kids for Christmas. I got $300 when my friends sold my old car. She was too proud to accept more money. She wanted to get nice things for the kids without spoiling them, a tough balance. That I borrowed Carmen's car to take the kids shopping. She laughed. Just be careful, and no eating inside. I've only had it for a few days. We visited Santa and took pictures. I told the kids we were shopping for Mom's Christmas gift and gave each of them $20, explaining it was only for her present. Keep it in your pocket and only take it out when you're ready to pay, I instructed them. At first, they looked at expensive items, so I took them to a more kid-friendly store. The salesperson helped them find gifts within their budget, and I asked them to let me know if they needed a little extra money. The kids worked hard to find the perfect presents for their mom. Mike turned to me. Uncle Dan, can I borrow $5? Mom loves unicorns, and this one costs $25. I'll give you the difference, if you wash my truck. Deal. Thanks, Uncle Dan. Mike ran off to buy the unicorn. Mark was staring at movies. Mark, you're supposed to be shopping for your mom, I reminded him. Mom loves Titanic and E.T., but I don't have enough for both. Get them both. Here's some extra money. When Mike washes my truck, you can help him. Thank you, Uncle Dan. Mom is going to love these. Molly struggled to find a gift she liked. None of them smell like Mom, she said. I whispered to the salesperson, white diamonds. Sir, that one costs $50. She only has 20. Tell her it's on sale for 20, and I'll cover the difference. The salesperson smiled and turned to Molly. Molly, I have a bottle of perfume that smells just like your mom. It's our last one, and it costs exactly $20. Molly beamed, took out her money, and bought it. After finishing our shopping, we visited Santa again. I asked the kids to help me find a gift for Mandy. Since she was going to England, I wanted to get her new luggage. They were eager to help, and I pretended to need their expert advice as we browsed the luggage section. Over here, Uncle Dan. The suitcases are here. Thanks, guys. Now, I need a 5-piece set. They searched until they found a dark blue 5-piece luggage set that I want to help, Uncle Dan. What can I do? Molly asked excitedly. You can pick the color for Mandy. She first chose a bright pink set, but it only had 3 pieces. She kept looking until she found the dark blue 5-piece set, so we bought that one. We stopped for lunch and then headed home. The kids hid their gifts for their mom in my office. They placed Mandy's luggage on her bed with a Christmas card signed by all 3 of them. When Mandy got home and saw the luggage, she was thrilled. She hugged the kids and thanked them. The following weeks flew by with work, school activities, and holiday preparations. We decorated a Christmas tree for the first time in 3 years, making the season feel extra special. Mandy left for England, and we planned to visit Janice and Brad the day after Christmas. Despite the holiday rush, our evenings were wonderful. Every night, we watched Christmas specials together. I bought Carmen a few things, including a gift certificate, a red satin nightgown, and a small box containing an engagement ring. The kids were overjoyed to find presents under the tree and in their stockings. Watching them open their gifts and seeing the happiness on Carmen's face was heartwarming. Mark gave Carmen her favorite movies, Mike gave her a unicorn, and Molly handed her the perfume. Mom, that was the last bottle, and I only had just enough money for it, Molly said proudly. Carmen smiled, noticing the 50 peso price tag. I received thoughtful gifts from Carmen. She told me Mandy had helped her pick them out. I had hidden bikes for each of the kids around the house, and their excitement was priceless when they found them. Molly and Mark got training wheels, though we knew Mark wouldn't use them, his older brother didn't. While the kids played, I handed Carmen a large box filled with sleepwear. Wow, what made you buy this? She teased. This comes with it, I said, handing her a small box. She opened it and saw the engagement ring. Tears filled her eyes. Carmen, will you marry me? Why, Dan? Why now? Because I love you, and I want you and the kids with me, always. Her voice trembled. Then my answer is, no. My heart sank. No. Please listen, Dan. I love you, but we've only known each other for a few months. After the holidays, things will go back to normal. I have a proposal of my own. All right, I'm listening. I want to rent out our rooms and contribute $200 a week. I want us to live as a family. If, in 6 months, we still feel the same way, then we'll move forward. I need you to be sure, really sure, that this is what you want. All I ask for is time. I won't go anywhere unless you send me away. She returned the ring and kissed me. Then she held up the nightgown. Can I at least keep this? She asked playfully. I chuckled. Of course. Good. Let's take our time and make sure this is what we both want. I could live with that, because I knew time would only bring us closer. The kids played with their toys all day. Even though it was cold, they couldn't wait to ride their bikes, so Carmen and I bundled up and watched them outside. That afternoon, Mandy called from England to announce her engagement. We cheered and wished her a Merry Christmas. That night, we all watched A Christmas Story together. Before bed, the kids hugged me. Uncle Dan, this was the best Christmas ever. Later, as I was getting ready for bed, I caught the scent of Carmen's perfume from down the hall. She appeared at my door in her new nightgown. Dan. I love you. But we need to take our time before getting married, until we know each other better. She hesitated for a moment, then smiled softly. But we can start tonight. She reached for my hand and pulled me toward her. Carmen slept in with Molly while I got up, made coffee, and prepared for the day. After breakfast, we got ready to head to Janice's house for Christmas dinner. Brad and his family were there too. We exchanged gifts, and I was touched that they had included Carmen and her kids. Mandy explained our family tradition of not buying gifts for adults, but Brad mentioned that Gil thought a sweater would be perfect for Carmen. Later, Brad pulled me aside. Dad, did you propose to Carmen? I did. But she turned me down, I admitted. What? I can't believe it. She loves you. She thinks it's too soon. She wants to make sure we're making the right decision, and she wants to contribute financially. She doesn't want charity. She wants love and partnership. So, what now? We'll give it time. Don't lose her, Dad. She's special, Brad said. Time, Brad. I'll give her time. Life moved forward, and we became a family. Carmen and I shared household responsibilities, including cooking, and we managed our finances through a joint checking account. We discussed major purchases beforehand. Although I usually had lunch at Joe's restaurant, I always waited for Carmen to join me. We functioned as a married couple, without the arguments, building a life enriched with love. Mandy observed how close we had become but remained silent. As Mandy's wedding approached, she asked Carmen to be her maid of honor, bringing tears of joy to Carmen's eyes. Although she considered having Molly as the flower girl, she ultimately chose one of her nieces. The anticipation for Mandy's wedding was overwhelming. She had just graduated, and we were deep in planning. My girlfriend was the maid of honor. Thankfully, the warm weather allowed us to open the pool, keeping the kids entertained while Mandy and Carmen handled wedding preparations. I stayed close, supporting them however I could. As the wedding day drew near, I reflected on my relationship with Carmen. I adored her, and she adored my children, and they adored me. I had a surprise planned for Carmen at the wedding. Since Christmas, we hadn't spoken about marriage, but today, that was about to change. I put on my suit. Brad and Rob were part of the wedding party, along with Janice and Gil. Everyone looked their best as the ceremony approached. Carmen, as the maid of honor, was busy with last-minute details. I sat in the front row with her children, reminding them to behave. I would be walking Mandy down the aisle. As the music started, Gil made her way down first, greeting the children with a gentle smile. The kids eagerly waved back, then Carmen walked down the aisle. The children excitedly greeted her, and she hushed them playfully. The flower girl and ring bearer, Janice and Rob's children, followed, waving back at the kids. Finally, I walked Mandy down the aisle. Tears of joy filled our eyes. Wow, Aunt Mandy looks like a princess. Molly whispered, making everyone smile. I took my seat and glanced around at my family. I felt truly blessed. My daughter Janice, my daughter-in-law Gil, my beloved Carmen, my daughter Mandy, and my soon-to-be son-in-law Ross were all there. Brad and Rob sat beside them, while my grandchildren played their roles perfectly. At the reception, Carmen joined me for the first dance. I love you, Carmen, I said. I love you too, she whispered. Do you really mean that? Do you really want this? She asked. I do, I said. She kissed me, our first public kiss. Later, it was time for the bouquet toss. Brad nudged Carmen to participate, reminding her she was still single. Mandy tossed the bouquet, right into Carmen's hands, then came the garter toss. Ross caught it and handed it to me. "This belongs to my father-in-law," he said with a knowing smile. Everyone, including Carmen, looked curious. She sat down, and I knelt before her, slipping the garter onto her leg. Then, surrounded by family and friends, I took out a ring. "Carmen, will you marry me?" Silence filled the room as everyone waited for her answer. From the crowd, Molly stepped forward. Seeing her mother in tears, she urged, "Say yes, Mommy." Carmen looked at me, her eyes filled with love. "Dan, I love you with all my heart. I'll do anything to make you happy." "Then, is that a yes?" "Yes. I will marry you." Cheers erupted. Mandy rushed to Carmen, and they embraced, crying tears of joy. I doubt there was a dry eye in the room, including mine, as I kissed my future wife. Now married, Carmen left her job at Joe's restaurant to help me run the gas station and convenience store. She quickly became well-loved, making the workplace feel more like home. That we're considering adoption, a decision we'll make together. Molly already calls me Dad, while the boys switch between Dad and Uncle Dan, probably to confuse their friends. As I reflect on life, I sometimes wonder, what if I had known about Harvey earlier? What if Annie's accident had never happened? Would our family's path have been different? Life is fragile, and the impact of past choices lingers. But right now, curled up on the couch with my wife, watching our children play, I know one thing for sure: this is exactly where I'm meant to be. On the TV, we're watching Titanic, Mark's Christmas gift to the family. Everyone is captivated, except Molly, who, as always, falls asleep halfway through.